It probably cost him $20,000 to get $100 worth of gold.
I just shook my head.
But it's a great tax write-off.
Hang out for the.
Yeah.
So let's start a mining company, and we're going to condemn the whole town.
Just do mineral cans.
Okay, open public hearing. Topic is annexation of 2225 Gable Road. And I'm going to turn it over to our city planner, Jacob Crichton.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a quasi-judicial land use hearing. The subject of this hearing is a request for an annexation. As noted, subject property is identified on the county assessor map as lot 500 on map 4 north, 1 west, section 8AD. The applicant are Brett and Brent, and Don Paintner, and the owner is Paintner Holdings LLC. Because quasi-judicial proceedings require the observance of certain procedural formalities, we must take a few moments to cover some preliminary matters and required statements. Does any member of the council wish to declare an ex parte contact, conflict of interest, or bias in this matter?
No.
Didn't think so. And does any member of the audience want to object to the ability of a counselor to make a fair decision? Excellent. So generally, the order of the proceedings will be as follows. Required statements, as I'm doing now. Staff report, the presentation. Those in favor, neutral testimony. Those opposed, rebuttal. Final questions, close of the record, and then deliberations and decision. So we have some things we have to say. The following statements are required to be made at the commencement of the hearing pursuant to City Code and Oregon Revised Statute 197.763 sub 5. Following is a list of applicable substantive criteria for this decision. Code section 17.08.0401, quasi-judicial amendment and standards. 17.08.060, transportation planning rule compliance. 17.28.030, annexation criteria. And then 17.112.020, establish and development area classification criteria. All testimony and arguments and evidence must be directed towards the substantive criteria as described or other standards in the plan, such as the comprehensive plan or land use regulation found in the development code, which the person believes applies to the decision. Failure to raise an issue, including constitutional or other issues related to the proposed conditions of approval in this hearing in person or in writing, or failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the approving authority and approval to respond to the issue, precludes appeal to LUBA, the Land Use Board of Appeals, on that issue, and precludes an action for damages in circuit court. And luckily, I don't think this is controversial, so all that stuff probably won't matter in the end. So this is an annexation. And the last annexation we had was a little while ago, and it was kind of a doozy. There was a lot of things to think about as far as what zoning to pick. Luckily, in this case, it's a lot simpler. So you can see the property up there on the screen, 2225 Gable. It's in the corner of Gable Road and McNulty Way. And if you travel Gable Road at all, you've seen that they have a couple of food trucks out there. Some nice, shiny new food trucks. And believe it or not, that is actually the catalyst for this annexation. So in annexations, there's usually two reasons, one of two reasons why we have an annexation. They need a city utility for some reason, or they need to use our rules. And interestingly enough, in this case, and we've been talking to this property owner literally for the last almost 10 years about doing food carts. He's been working on it here and there, finally pulled the trigger. And it's really interesting just in the last few years how much interest we've had in these food trucks, a lot more than we've ever seen. And it was in the county. And so we had some preliminary meetings with the county, and the county wanted to, the county doesn't have rules that really addresses temporary uses for these kind of things very well. And so, I kind of brought that up to the county. Your code doesn't really address it at all. County agreed, and so the person, they definitely want to have this food truck business since they have been thinking about it for a long time. And they figured, well, they'll have to annex eventually anyway, so they'll do it now so they can use our temporary use provisions to allow these. Because I don't know how long it'll take for the county to write something in their code. So that's why we're here. Luckily, it's really simple. The comprehensive plan has it as general commercial. The only zoning that makes sense is general commercial. And in this little pocket of commercial on this side of the highway, this is the last area. Everything else to the south and east is industrial. And so it's this last pocket of commercial here that's not in city limits. Planning Commission reviewed it. Unanimous approval from them. No controversy. No public testimony in opposition. There was a little bit of concern about traffic, but it was more related to development potential rather than annexation. And so the recommendation is to annex it and give it a comprehensive plan and zoning designation of general commercial. And that's pretty much it.
You gonna call testimony in favor? You all that?
So I know the applicant isn't here. Anybody want to speak in favor, in neutral, or in opposition to this? Nope. Any questions?
Any issues with traffic flows? Driveways, access?
No, the driveway approaches have been there for a long time. And if this property was substantially redeveloped, I think we would kind of look at that as well as everything else, including connection to utilities. But for the purposes of a temporary use, we don't see any issues at this time.
So no proposed plan of a access off of McNeldy Way to the property?
No.
Okay.
It actually before, because it used to have a business in that little house in the front, and it used to be scary getting in and out of there, and now that they put all those plantings in there, it's calmed the corner quite a bit. Because there used to be, people used to do cookies in that parking lot, and that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, there used to be, the children's resale used to be in that building
Yep.
years ago, and people used to do cookies in it. When I get stuff, it's like my kids are going to get run over in the parking lot. But since they've done that plantings, slowed everybody down.
Isn't it a donut? I just, not a cookie?
I don't like donuts.
Oh.
I think I've heard both, actually.
Yeah,
That's a good
Girl
point.
Scout cookies. What are you talking about?
So yeah, the plantings weren't mandated, but they wanted to make it more inviting. And so, we're not going to argue with adding landscaping.
That's rural people, they're cookies. Homemade cookies.
Any other questions?
Okay. Call this public hearing closed.
Look at that timing.
God, we even have to wait for the next one.